She thought she was just a secretary. She didn't know she was about to uncover a secret that could destroy one of Africa's biggest tech companies, and the man she loved. Lagos wakes up loud. Before the sun fully rises, the city is already alive. Buses groan to life, street vendors arrange their goods. Traffic begins its daily argument with patience. Glass towers reflect early light like promises waiting to be claimed. In a city like this, you either learn to move fast or you get swallowed. Aisha had always been quiet, not weak, not timid, just quiet. She grew up in a modest part of Lagos, where neighbors knew each other's names and children played in the street until their mothers called them in. Her mother, Mariam, always told her something simple. Being loud is not the same as being strong. Aisha carried those words with her. She was observant. She watched people closely. She learned quickly. She did not chase attention. She built herself slowly, carefully, like someone stacking bricks for a future only she could see. When she graduated and landed a job at SoftSky Tech, it felt like stepping into a different world. SoftSky was not just another tech company. It was one of Africa's rising giants. The apps people could not live without, the devices everyone wanted, the innovation that made headlines. Its headquarters stood tall in the Lagos skyline, all glass and steel and confidence. And at the top of it all was Emeka Okofor. Emeka was the kind of man people described before they met him. He's brilliant, strategic, untouchable. He had built SoftSky from almost nothing. By his early 40s, he was a billionaire. Investors respected him, competitors feared him, employees admired him from a distance. He was divorced, reserved, always composed. When Aisha first saw him walking through the lobby on her first day, she did what everyone else did. She stared. Not because he was handsome, though he was. Not because he was powerful, though that was obvious. She stared because he carried something heavier than success: responsibility. Her role at SoftSky was simple: executive secretary. She managed schedules, organized meetings, prepared reports. She worked closely with other secretaries like Emeka and Jane, both stylish, glamorous, confident, and very aware of their surroundings. Aisha blended into the background. She wore clean, modest outfits, never tried competing with the other secretaries in looking glamorous. She kept her natural curls tied neatly in a bun. She only spoke when spoken to, listened more than she talked. She became known for something subtle: reliability. If Emeka needed documents, they were ready. If there was a board meeting, the files were organized. If investors called, she handled it smoothly. Months passed. Then one evening, something shifted. The office had emptied. The cleaning staff moved quietly down the halls. The city lights shimmered outside the tall windows. Aisha was still working on some documents in the high-tech, futuristic office shared with Emeka and Jane. She always stayed a little later than necessary, not because anyone asked her to, but because she believed preparation was protection. In a place where power moved quickly, she refused to be caught unready. The door opened softly. She looked up. It was Emeka. "You're still here?" he asked. His voice was calm, not stern, not commanding, just curious. "I wanted to make sure tomorrow's board files were complete," she replied. He studied her for a moment. "You're always the last to leave." She felt warmth rise in her cheeks. She was not used to being noticed. "I like things done properly," she said. Something flickered in his expression. Approval, maybe admiration. "I appreciate that," he replied quietly. That was the beginning. After that night, small things changed. He started asking for her opinion during preparation meetings. "What do you think of this presentation flow?" She hesitated at first, but when she spoke, she was thoughtful, observant, honest. He noticed. Lunch invitations followed. At first, professional, discussing schedules, market shifts, investor moods. Then the conversations softened. He talked about building SoftSky from scratch, sleeping in his first office, investors who almost pulled out, deals that nearly collapsed. He saw a different side of him, not the polished CEO, but the man behind the pressure. Late evenings became routine. One night, while reviewing reports in his office, silence stretched between them in a way that felt different, not awkward, charged. He looked at her longer than usual. "You don't chase attention," he said. She blinked. "I've noticed," he continued. "In this building, everyone wants something. You just work." She swallowed. "I came here to build something," she replied softly. He leaned back in his chair, studying her in a way that made her heart beat faster. "You already are." That night, when he drove her home, the city lights reflected across the windshield. Lagos buzzed around them, unaware that something fragile and dangerous was forming inside that car. Within 6 months, what began as admiration became something neither of them could deny. He reached for her hand one evening in his office. "Aisha," he said, his voice lower than usual, "I have never met anyone like you." Her heart pounded so loudly she was sure he could hear it. "I think about you too," he continued, "more than I should." Her breath caught. "I think about you too," she whispered. And just like that, the line between professional and personal disappeared. They kept it quiet. Private dinners, late-night conversations, soft laughter in empty hallways, quick glances during meetings that carried entire conversations without a word. But offices are living organisms. They sense shifts. Emeka noticed first, then Jane. Whispers began. Why was Aisha always in board meetings? Why did the CEO ask her directly? Why was she always asked to work late by the CEO? The gossip did not wound her at first. She was too wrapped in something new, something intoxicating. She felt seen, valued, chosen. For a girl who had spent most of her life blending into the background, that feeling was powerful. But love born inside power is rarely simple. One morning, she arrived earlier than usual. The office was still quiet. The cleaners had just left. The lights were dimmed. She walked into Emeka's office to arrange files for an upcoming presentation. That's when she saw it. A folder on the desk, marked confidential. Normally, she wouldn't look, but something about the placement felt careless, out of character. Curiosity whispered, "Just a glance." She opened it. Inside were documents detailing a partnership deal, foreign investors, data agreements. She scanned the lines slowly, then again. Her heart began to beat faster. User data, sold, to third-party companies, without explicit consent. Her stomach dropped. This was not a gray area. This was illegal. She flipped through more pages. Transaction structures, offshore payments, revenue projections tied to sale of user information. Her hands trembled. This was Emeka's signature on the authorization page. The man she loved, the company she was proud of, the foundation of everything she believed she was building. Her chest tightened. Maybe she misunderstood. Maybe it wasn't illegal. Maybe she was reading too much into it because of the wordings in the document. But deep down, she knew what she was reading. The office door opened suddenly. She froze. It was Emeka. He paused when he saw the folder in her hands. Silence filled the room. For the first time since she had met him, she did not see calm control in his eyes. His face was unsmiling, shrewd, and dispassionate. "What are you doing here so early?" he asked evenly. Her throat felt dry. "I was organizing the files," she said quietly. He stepped closer. His gaze dropped briefly to the open folder, then back to her face. In that moment, something invisible shifted between them. Not love, not yet, but certainty. She closed the folder slowly. "Is this real?" she asked. He did not answer immediately, and that silence told her more than words ever could. The city outside continued as usual, traffic, honking, movement, but inside that office, Aisha felt something crack. She had fallen in love with a visionary, but maybe she had fallen in love with a man standing on a lie. That morning, Aisha sat at her desk, pretending to work. She was oblivious of the hot gossip session going on between her colleagues, Emeka and Jane. They were gossiping about a married male colleague who was caught cheating with one of the cleaners that morning. Aisha focused on her computer screen, but her mind was not on the emails. It was on the file, the confidential file she saw that morning. The numbers, the signatures, the user's private data being sold. Her chest still felt tight. Across the office, Emeka could be seen through his transparent glass walls. He was pacing around and speaking to investors on a call. He was calm, confident, in control. He looked exactly the same, but to Aisha, he felt different. Like a man she thought she knew, but didn't. Her phone buzzed suddenly. "Come to my office." It was him. She stood slowly. Her legs felt heavy as she walked towards his office. When she entered, he was standing by the window, looking out at Lagos traffic. The city was bright, alive, loud. Inside the office, it felt quiet, too quiet. "You opened the file," he said, without turning around. He sounded as though he wanted to reconfirm that she had seen what she saw. It was not anger in his voice. It was acceptance. "Yes," Aisha replied. He finally turned to face her. "It's not what it looks like." She almost laughed. "What does it look like, sir?" she asked softly. He walked back to his desk, sat down. "It's a partnership deal, structured and strategic. We're not stealing anything." "You're selling personal data," she countered. "Without clear permission," she continued, trying to keep her tone as calm as she could. Emeka leaned forward. "Do you know how competitive this industry is? Do you know how many companies would bury us if they had the chance?" "So this is about survival?" she asked, looking disappointed. "Yes." "At any cost?" He did not answer immediately. That silence hurt. "Aisha," he said, softer now, "you don't understand the pressure I'm under. You are new in this industry. You are barely 2 years in, so you won't understand." "Then help me understand," she replied. He looked at her for a long moment. "There are investors behind Nexitech," he said slowly. "Very powerful ones. They expect results." "And if you don't give them what they want?" she asked. His jaw tightened. "It won't be good." "For who?" she wanted to ask, looking into his eyes. "For the company? Or for you?" Instead, she said, "Why didn't you tell me how dangerous this industry is?" He sighed. "Because I didn't want you involved." "But I am involved now. I work here. I love you. That involves me." The word love hung between them, heavy. He stood and walked closer. "I don't want you involved in anything dangerous. It's my duty to protect you." She shook her head. "You don't protect someone by lying to them." That one hit. He stepped back slightly. The air between them felt fragile now, not romantic, tense. He said, "You need to trust me." She looked into his eyes, and for the first time since they met, she wasn't sure. That afternoon, the office felt strange. Men in suits she did not recognize stood near the elevators. Their faces were unfamiliar. Their eyes were very alert. Board members moved quickly through hallways, and Sam watched. Sam, the chief technology officer. He had always been composed, efficient, loyal to the company's mission. But now, whenever he caught a glimpse of Aisha, she noticed something different in his eyes. His eyes followed her movements. Aisha shook off the feeling. Maybe I'm just being paranoid, she thought to herself. Later that afternoon, his assistant called her. Sam would like to see you. Her stomach dropped. When she entered his office, he did not smile. "Close the door," he said calmly. She did. He leaned back in his chair, studying her, his large googles perched at the edge of her flat nose. "You've seemed distracted lately," he said. "Just workload," she replied. His lips curved slightly. "We both know SoftSky is entering a critical phase." She said nothing. He leaned forward. "Loyalty matters right now." Her throat tightened. "I'm loyal to the company," she said carefully. "Good, because betrayal rarely ends well." The words were soft, but they landed heavy. As she walked back to her desk, her hands felt cold. Did he know she had seen the confidential file? Or was this simply general caution on the job? That night, her phone buzzed. Unknown number. "You're being watched. Be careful who you trust." Her stomach dropped. She stared at the message for a long time. Another buzz. A knock at her apartment door. Her breath caught. She approached slowly, opened it just enough to see. Sam stood there, a forced smile on his thin face. "I was in the area," he said smoothly. "Thought I'd check on you." Her instincts screamed. Why was he at her home and this late at night? He has never visited her before. "I'm fine," she stammered quickly, still standing at the door. She listened to her instincts, which told her to not invite him into her apartment. He stared at her beautiful face in the faint glow that streamed through the light in her apartment. He stared as if searching for something. "Good," he replied. "Just remember, things are bigger than they seem." He left without another word. She locked the door immediately. Her hands were shaking. Was it a coincidence, or was he connected to the message she received earlier? That night, Aisha barely slept. Her mind spiraled. Was Sam protecting the company, or protecting himself? Was Emeka trapped, or leading everything? By morning, exhaustion wrapped around her like fog. She needed clarity. She visited her mother that Saturday morning. Miriam listened quietly as Aisha spoke in fragments, trying to explain the conflict within her. Her mother was a wise, educated woman whom she could discuss anything with. "Sometimes love blinds you," Miriam said gently, after listening to her daughter. "But conscience always whispers." What if walking away ruins everything? Aisha quickly understood what her mother meant. "Then at least you walked with integrity," her mother replied. "You can't be in a relationship with someone who lacks integrity." Monday morning, SoftSky felt even more tense. There was an emergency board meeting. Voices were louder than usual behind closed doors. Aisha sat in the corner, taking minutes. The chairman spoke sharply. There are concerns about the Nexitech deal. Emeka remained calm. It is under control. Sam leaned forward. With due respect, the board deserves full transparency, he said, looking straight at Emeka. Aisha had always noticed a flicker of rivalry from Sam towards Emeka, and it was now clearly visible in his eyes. The room felt divided. Lines were forming. After the meeting, Emeka pulled Aisha aside. "Meet me on the rooftop tonight," he said. She hesitated, but she agreed. That evening, the wind was strong. The city lights blinked below them. They stood at the balcony close to one of the 5 outdoor patio settings where staff usually relax during the day. Neon light cast a romantic glow on the cozy terrace. The space was quiet, as it is usually at this time, as almost all staff have closed for the day. "I never wanted this to reach you," Emeka said. "It already has," she replied. He stepped closer. "There are powerful people behind this deal," he said quietly. "If I pull out suddenly, it won't just affect the company." Her stomach tightened. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying this isn't simple." She looked at him. "Nothing about this is simple anymore." They stood in silence. Then footsteps echoed behind them. 2 men approached. They were not employees. One of them placed an envelope on the table between them. No words, just a look, and they left. Emeka picked up the envelope slowly. Inside was a photograph. It was Aisha walking into her apartment building. The photograph was taken from across the street. Her breath stopped. Under the photo, a short message: "Stay focused." The wind felt colder suddenly. This was not business pressure. This was a threat. Aisha looked at Emeka. "Who are these people?" He did not answer immediately, and that scared her more than anything else. Below them, Lagos continued like nothing had changed. But for Aisha, everything had. This was no longer about a secret deal. This was about power, control, and danger. And she was standing right in the middle of it. The wind moved quietly across the rooftop. The envelope lay open on the table, and Aisha's photograph stared back at her. Someone had been watching her, watching Emeka, watching everything. But the photograph was not what frightened her the most. It was the content of the file she had opened that bothered her. Because buried inside those documents was something that looked far worse than a risky business deal. It looked like SoftSky had been preparing to sell the private data of its own users. Not just numbers, not just statistics, real people, their locations, their browsing habits, their conversations, their lives, sold quietly to foreign investors who would never ask permission. If the public ever discovered it, it would not just destroy the company. It would destroy the trust of millions of people who believed SoftSky was protecting them. And the worst part? All documents pointed to one name: Emeka, the man she loved. And as the Lagos skyline flickered beneath them, Aisha realized something terrifying. If those files were real, then the man she trusted most might be responsible for one of the biggest betrayals a tech company could commit. The morning it happened, SoftSky did not feel normal. Phones were ringing constantly. Employees were whispering in corners. Security staff moved faster than usual. Aisha noticed it the moment she stepped out of the elevator. Something had broken. The air felt heavy. She walked toward her desk. The other executive secretaries had not yet arrived. She was about to sit when her phone buzzed. It was Zainab, one of the secretaries in the programming department. Her voice came through in a whisper. "Have you seen it?" "Seen what?" Aisha frowned. But before she could ask, her phone buzzed again. "A link." "I just sent it," Zainab said quickly. "Watch it." Then the call ended. Aisha stared at the screen. Her hands suddenly felt cold. Slowly, she tapped the link. The video loaded. Then she saw him, Emeka, sitting inside a dimly lit restaurant, across from a man she did not recognize. A suitcase filled with money was on the table. There were documents also. The camera zoomed in. The man slid a file toward Emeka. Emeka opened it, nodded. Then the video cut to a second frame, a bank transfer screen. Huge amounts in dollars with plenty of zeros, offshore accounts. The caption below the video was simple: SoftSky CEO caught in illegal deal. Aisha's heart dropped. "No," she whispered. This was not the man she knew, not the man who had stayed late nights building SoftSky, not the man who had spoken passionately about protecting user privacy. Her chest tightened. Within minutes, she realized something worse. The video was everywhere. Blogs, news websites, social media. By the time she looked up, her colleagues had arrived, and they were both sneaking weird looks at her. Later that morning, as she walked through the hallway, she could feel eyes of the employees on her. Some looked at her with pity, some with judgment, some with quiet satisfaction, because the powerful CEO, her boyfriend, now looked guilty, very guilty. Aisha ignored the long stares and tried to concentrate on her work. She was putting finishing touches to a report that was due at close of business when her phone rang. Her phone rang suddenly. It was Emeka. Through the glass walls of his office, she could see him motioning for her to answer. She let it ring once, twice. She needed a second to breathe. Then she picked up. "It's fake," he said immediately. His voice was tense, controlled. "It's edited," he continued. "You're in the video," Aisha replied quietly. "I know." That frightened her, because it meant the footage itself was real. Someone is working overtime to make me look guilty. I don't know why. Her mind raced. Is this connected to those confidential documents I saw? If those documents are real... He cut her off. "I don't know what to say right now." Then his tone changed. "They're moving faster than I expected. They. Always they." Aisha stared at the phone after the call ended. Who were they?
Aisha's mind raced faster than before. Sam's visit the night before no longer felt like coincidence. It felt planned, like a warning, or worse, a test. His words echoed in her mind. Things are bigger than they seem, and now she believed it. Because nothing about this felt normal anymore. And now, looking at everything unfolding, she couldn't ignore the possibility that he was connected to it all. But what unsettled her even more was Emeka. The Nexatech deal he defended so strongly was beginning to look less like a strategic partnership and more like a gateway, one that could quietly enable the sale of user data hidden beneath layers of approvals and complex transactions. And if that was true, then Emeka wasn't just under pressure, he was inside it, deep. And that scared her, because she didn't know anymore if he was a victim or part of it. That uncertainty kept her quiet. She couldn't confide in him, not yet. Not when there was a chance. He was working with the same people she feared. And the photograph from the night before, the message, it had shaken him. She saw it, even though he tried to hide it. That wasn't fear for himself. It was for her. And suddenly, the strange men around SoftSky made sense. They weren't just security. They were watching, controlling, protecting something or someone. And now Aisha knew this was no longer business. This was something else, something bigger, something dangerous. The thought lingered, heavy, unanswered. Aisha stared at her screen, but she wasn't really seeing it. Her mind was somewhere else, trying to make sense of everything.
30 minutes later, another notification appeared. Emergency board meeting. Again. This was the third emergency meeting in a week. All executive secretaries were instructed to attend. As Aisha gathered documents, Sam walked in and opened Emeka's door suddenly. The three secretaries, Aisha, Emeka, and Jane, could see everything through the glass walls. And for the first time since they had worked at SoftSky, they saw Emeka shouting. The usually calm CEO was furious. Sam shouted back. The argument was intense. Then Sam stormed out, muttering under his breath. Board members began arriving, one by one. The atmosphere was different this time. This time, the media was involved. Phones buzzed constantly. Emeka's name was trending. Then Aisha saw something else. Her own name. CEO's girlfriend involved. Her chest tightened. Inside the boardroom, voices rose. The argument between Sam and Emeka continued. Emeka stood at the head of the table, angry, defiant. He was not begging, he was fighting. Finally, the chairman spoke loudly. Everyone out except board members. Aisha stood with the others, but as she reached the door, Sam stopped her. "You should stay," he said calmly. "You need to hear this." Something about that felt wrong, but she sat. The chairman played the video on the large screen. Again, the room went silent. When it ended, he turned to Emeka. "Explain." Emeka stepped forward. "This meeting happened, but the context is false." "Money was exchanged," one board member snapped. "Yes, but not for illegal data sales." "Then for what?" the chairman asked. Emeka hesitated. That hesitation hurt him, because in business, hesitation looks like guilt. Then Sam stood up. "There's more." He connected his laptop. Transaction logs appeared on the screen, digital approvals, signatures, and at the bottom, Emeka's name. The room exploded. Sam spoke calmly. "For months, I warned about the Nexitech partnership, but Emeka pushed forward." Emeka turned sharply. "You were part of those meetings, Sam." "Yes," Sam replied smoothly, "but I didn't know you met them privately." The chairman leaned forward. "Are you accusing Emeka of acting alone?" Sam paused, then nodded. Aisha looked at Emeka. For the first time, he looked betrayed.
After the meeting, chaos filled the hallway. Reporters gathered outside the building. Security restricted access to several departments. Aisha walked slowly toward Emeka's office. The door was closed. She knocked. No answer. She pushed it open. He was standing by the window, the same place he stood whenever the pressure became too much. "Did you do it?" she asked softly. He turned slowly. "That's what you think? I don't know what to think anymore." He stepped closer. "They're layering transactions," he said. "Fake approvals buried under real ones. Can you prove it?" "Yes." "Do you have proof?" "Not yet." Her stomach dropped. "Why is Sam so confident?" she asked. His eyes darkened because he thinks he's ahead. Suddenly, her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. She opened it. Another video. It was short, grainy. Emeka and Ngozi, his ex-wife, inside what looked like a private apartment, standing very close, too close. Her breath stopped. The timestamp was recent. She looked up slowly. "Where were you last night?" "At home." She turned the phone toward him. His expression changed. "That's not what it looks like. Please don't say that." He stepped forward. "I went to see her." "For what?" "She said she had information." "Information?" Aisha asked, a deep frown on her face. He hesitated. Her heart cracked. The well of distrust deepened in her. "I didn't want to drag you into this," he said. "You already did." Silence filled the room. Outside, reporters shouted questions. Inside, trust was breaking. "Do you trust me?" he asked. She wanted to say yes, but now there were 2 videos, 2 public humiliations, too many secrets.
"I want to," she whispered, "but I don't know if I can." His shoulders dropped. That hurt him more than the accusations. Suddenly, security rushed down the hallway. "Authorities are requesting documents." The crisis was escalating fast. Sam appeared in the doorway of Emeka's office. "The board has decided," he said calmly. "You need to step aside." Emeka stared at him. "You planned this." Sam did not react. "This is about protecting SoftSky," he sneered, visibly happy about the turn of events. Emeka laughed quietly. SoftSky. Always SoftSky. As security moved closer, Aisha stepped back. The empire was shaking. The video had done its job, but as she watched Sam's calm expression, one thought became clear. This was too perfect, too prepared, too smooth. Someone had built this trap carefully, and Emeka had walked straight into it. That night, Aisha sat alone in her apartment. But this time, she was not confused. She was thinking. 2 videos, 2 humiliations, and too many secrets. This was not random. This was strategy. Someone had built the perfect story. A greedy CEO secretly selling user data to foreign investors. A man willing to betray millions of people for profit. It looked believable. Too believable. And somewhere inside SoftSky, the real enemy was smiling. But the question that kept Aisha awake that night was not just who built the trap. The question was worse. After everything she had seen, could she still trust Emeka? The night after the second video leaked, Aisha did not sleep. Her phone kept lighting up with notifications, news alerts, blogs, comments, speculation, and every headline carried the same message: SoftSky CEO caught in illegal data deal. She tried not to read them, but curiosity is cruel. One article said millions of users' personal information had been quietly sold through hidden agreements. Another claimed SoftSky had secretly built a system that harvested user behavior and sold it overseas. The accusations were ugly, and the more she read, the more she began to wonder, how much of Emeka did she truly know? Just before sunrise, her phone rang. It was Emeka. She stared at the screen for a long time before answering. "Aisha?" His voice sounded strained. "Tell me the truth," she said quietly. "Aisha, did you really do it?" Aisha interrupted softly. Silence. Just for a moment, but moments like that are dangerous. "I was negotiating expansion," he said finally. "That's not what I asked," she interrupted again. "I was trying to secure SoftSky's future. At the cost of people's private data?" His voice hardened. "You're believing the media?" "I'm believing what I saw." "Aisha, did you sell user data without permission?" She pressed, wanting a clear answer from him. The silence returned, longer this time. And in that silence, something inside Aisha cracked. "I can't do this anymore," she whispered. "What are you saying?" Emeka asked. "I'm saying I don't recognize you anymore. Aisha, this is bigger than you understand. That's exactly the problem." Another long silence. Then she said softly, "I think we should end this." The words hung in the air. Heavy. Final. Aisha? I loved you, she continued. Loved? He repeated. I still do. But love is not enough when trust is gone. The call ended abruptly, and somewhere inside SoftSky, something else was about to collapse too. 2 days later, the email arrived. Administrative restructuring. Executive board meeting attendance restricted. She read the message twice, then a third time. Her name was gone from the board clearance list. She was no longer allowed in executive meetings. Before the scandal, she had belonged to the inner circle. She prepared reports. She attended strategy meetings. She sat quietly in rooms where decisions that shaped SoftSky were made. She had been trusted. But now, she was invisible. Later that morning, she walked toward the executive elevator. The doors were already open. She stepped inside with 3 other employees. She pressed the boardroom floor. The panel flashed red. Access denied. The soft electronic beep echoed loudly. The employees behind her pretended not to notice, but they noticed. Everyone noticed. Someone whispered, "Wow." Another voice said quietly, "The CEO's favorite has lost her badge." Aisha stepped out slowly, her face calm, though her pride was shattered. As she returned to her office, the whispers had spread. She thought she was special. She forgot where she came from. Secretary dating the CEO? Someone laughed softly. Look how that ended. Even women who once envied her now looked satisfied. Balance had been restored. And Emeka? He knew what was happening. From behind the glass walls of his office, he heard the whispers, the looks, the humiliation. But he said nothing. Instead, he became colder. He ignored her. He behaved as though she was invisible. That afternoon, he assigned her work through her colleague, Emeka. Too much work. Urgent reports due within hours. Investor briefs that normally took days. Meeting summaries rewritten 3 times. Late-night financial notes. Not because she couldn't do them, but because he wanted her exhausted. Maybe hurt. Maybe distracted. One morning, she entered his office with a completed report. He barely looked up. Redo the formatting. The formatting is correct, sir, Aisha replied. I prefer another structure. His tone was flat, professional, cold. She understood immediately. This was punishment. Punishment for breaking up with him. Punishment for not befriending him. Punishment for choosing herself. At the door, Idris saw everything. A young, handsome, confident executive board member, half Nigerian and half American. He watched quietly as Aisha left the office. Then he stepped inside. That afternoon, a delivery arrived at her desk. A large, luxury box. Emeka and Jane turned to look. She opened it slowly. Inside was a black designer handbag. Elegant, beautiful, extremely expensive. A small card sat inside. You deserve to be appreciated. By Idris. Across the room, Emeka saw it. His jaw tightened.
He walked straight to her desk. "What is this?" "A gift." "Return it." "Why?" "Because it's inappropriate." She held his gaze. "And what we had wasn't?" The room went silent. "He's trying to use you. Like you used me," Aisha replied. The words landed hard. Emeka lowered his voice. "Don't make this harder than it already is. You already made it hard." She picked up the box and walked away. And for the first time since the breakup, Emeka looked uncertain.
If the office tension wasn't enough, Ngozi returned, not quietly, deliberately. She walked through SoftSky like someone who owned the building, tall, dark, with an hourglass figure that could rival any top model, elegant, body-hugging mid-thigh dress, luxury heels, confident, bright smile on her beautiful face, the kind of confidence money gives people. Later that afternoon, Aisha entered the lobby on her way to the cafeteria and saw them, Emeka and Ngozi, standing close, laughing softly. Ngozi placed her hand on his arm. He didn't remove it immediately. That moment burned. Ngozi saw Aisha watching and smiled, not kindly, but knowingly. Later that evening, Ngozi approached her. "You're Aisha?" "Yes." Ngozi studied her for a moment. "You're very brave." "For what?" Aisha asked, surprised. "For thinking you belonged in Emeka's world." The words were soft but cruel. "You're just his secretary," Ngozi continued. "You were never going to last. You are not the first and will not be the last." Aisha didn't respond. Ngozi leaned closer. "Men like Emeka marry women like me." She smiled slightly. "Not women like you," and walked away, not waiting for her response. That night, another leak appeared online. Internal emails. Real emails. Emeka pushing aggressively for the Nexatech deal. Accelerate negotiations. Do not delay. Confidential approval required. The internet exploded again. This time, people questioned his character. Greed, ambition. Aisha wanted to confront him, but the distance between them had become too wide. The next morning, the office felt crueler. Two women whispered as she walked past. "So she has moved on to another big fish already." The news about Idris's luxurious gift had already circulated. Another replied, "At least she knows how to go after the high flyers." Aisha pretended not to hear, but she heard every word. Meanwhile, Idris became more present and persistent. Lunch invitations, dinner offers, job offers from his other big companies. He even offered to fund a startup idea for her. She declined them all, and every time Idris visits the office and comes to her desk, Emeka watched. Jealousy turned him colder, sharper, suspicious. He corrected her in meetings, questioned her reports, criticized small mistakes. The man who once protected her was now dismantling her confidence. And slowly, it worked. One afternoon, she opened a blank email. Subject, resignation. Her fingers trembled. I hereby resign from my position, effective immediately. Her eyes filled with tears. Was she quitting because of scandal, because of heartbreak, or because staying felt like humiliation? She saved the draft. Not yet, but soon. That evening, she walked through the corridor. A junior compliance assistant exited the executive elevator quietly, soft-spoken, invisible, the kind of employee nobody notices. He dropped one file. She bent to help. As she handed it back, she saw a silver ring. It was simple, distinct. Her mind flashed. The restaurant video, the reflection in the glass table, the same ring. Her heart skipped, but she said nothing. Not yet. Later that night, someone knocked at her door. Emeka. He looked tired. I don't want this to end like this. It ended because of you, Aisha whispered. You didn't give me a chance. Because I felt alone. I'm losing everything, he said. The company, my reputation, you. And whose fault is that? I never meant to hurt you. But you did. I was trying to protect us. But protection without honesty is manipulation. He reached for her hand. She didn't pull away immediately. That pause almost broke her. I still love you, he said. Her eyes filled. Don't say that. Why? Because love isn't the problem. Then what is? Trust. Silence. Heavy. Real. Are you really not involved in all the criminal activities you are being accused of? She asked. His breath caught. He looked away for just a second. That second destroyed her. That's what I thought. He stepped closer, desperately. No, it's really not what you think. Go, she interrupted, her voice breaking but firm. He froze. I need peace, she whispered. And every time you stand in front of me, I feel war. He stood there for a long moment looking at her, then walked to the door when he noticed she was not budging. Before leaving, he said quietly, If you resign, they win. She whispered, Maybe, but at least I won't lose myself. The door closed. She slid down against it, crying quietly. The breakup had happened. The office had turned against her. Jealousy had poisoned everything. And Emeka looked more guilty than ever. But while everyone was staring at him, while the world debated his character, someone else walked through SoftSky unnoticed, carrying secrets, carrying the final piece of the trap. And the most dangerous part, he looked completely innocent. And not even Aisha had realized that ring meant everything. What started as whispers inside SoftSky had become a storm outside it. News channels, blogs, financial analysts, everyone was talking about the same thing. Millions of users' data sold quietly by SoftSky. Not just personal information, behavior, patterns, private lives, packaged, sold, profited from. And now, people were angry. With each passing week, the damage was no longer contained. Government agencies began asking questions. Regulators were preparing fines that could shut SoftSky down. Sanctions were being discussed. Major corporate clients began pulling off deals worth billions of dollars. Then, loudly, contracts paused, partnerships under review. Investors grew nervous. Stock value dipped, then dipped again. And inside SoftSky, you could feel it. Not tension, but fear. Because this was no longer about reputation, it was about survival. For Emeka, it became personal. The scandal was not dying down. Every headline still carried his name. Every accusation pointed at him. Even the chief compliance officer, Mr. Sam Adeyemi, had become more relentless in his accusations. Aisha remained where she had been pushed to, outside. No boardroom access, no executive clearance, no inside conversations. Though she still wanted to stick it out, it was becoming very difficult. Everything felt distant, like she was watching her own life from outside. Her colleagues still whispered, but now, they didn't bother lowering their voices. She still refused to react, but being an outsider gave her something others didn't have: distance. She saw what others missed. Not the data, the people. SoftSky was changing, slowly at first, then all at once. The office no longer felt like one team, it felt divided. Invisible lines everywhere, people choosing sides, quietly, carefully. Doors that were always open were now locked. People were nervous, not just stressed, careful, watching their words, watching each other. It happened on an ordinary afternoon, the kind where nothing memorable happens. It began with something small. Again, a simple task, one she had done countless times recently as she had been relegated to handling some menial chores. Aisha had been sent to retrieve some old compliance files from storage. Boring, safe, or so it seemed. Aisha pushed the storage room door open slowly. It creaked, just a little. She paused, listened. Nothing. The large room was still and cold. Too still. Rows of old files stretched along the shelves, most of them covered in a thin layer of dust, the kind that only gathers when something hasn't been touched in a long time. She stepped inside carefully and shut the door behind her. Just find the file and leave, she told herself. She didn't want to stay here longer than necessary. There was something about the room. It felt forgotten, like things placed here were not meant to be seen again. She moved along the shelves, scanning labels. Old audit files, closed reports, archived documents. Nothing important, or at least nothing that looked important. She reached for a file, then paused, then reached for another one. And then, something shifted. Not loudly, just enough. A thin brown envelope, tucked between two folders, slipped loose and fell. It didn't drop straight down. It tilted slightly as it fell, like it hadn't been placed properly in the first place. Aisha frowned. That was odd. Most of the files here were packed tightly, neatly, forgotten, but organized. This one wasn't. The envelope hit the floor softly. Papers slid halfway out. She stared at it for a second, then sighed quietly and bent down. Careless, she murmured under her breath. But even as she said it, something didn't sit right. She picked up the first sheet. Numbers. Huge numbers in dollars. Columns. Nothing unusual. She moved to the next sheet, then the next. Still numbers. Still nothing she could really understand. Then, she slowed. Her fingers paused. Her eyes narrowed slightly. Wait. She looked again. The same name. She turned the page. There it was again. Same name. Over and over. A small crease formed between her brows. "I've never seen or heard of this company before," she whispered. She flipped through the rest. Different dates. Different amounts. But the pattern didn't change. Money going out. Regular. Consistent. Too consistent. Even she could tell that. And she wasn't part of finance. She sat back slightly, still crouched on the floor, the papers in her hands. Her mind began to turn. Why is the same company receiving money like this? Regular payments. And why is this here? Her eyes moved back to the envelope. No label. No proper marking. Just there. Like it didn't belong with the others. Her chest tightened slightly. Not fear. Not yet. But something close. A quiet warning. This shouldn't be here. She swallowed, then quickly gathered the papers back together, more carefully now, more aware. Her movements slower, as if someone could walk in at any moment, as if she had already seen too much. She slipped everything back into the envelope, then hesitated, just for a second, her fingers resting on it, her thoughts louder now. This shouldn't be here. Did someone put this here by mistake? Or was it meant to be hidden? That question stayed with her, as she stood up, as she placed the envelope under the files she had come for, and as she walked out of the room, closing the door behind her. Aisha knew one thing. This was not random. She didn't understand it yet, but she had just stepped into something bigger than office gossip, bigger than rumors, and somehow it had found its way into a place where nobody was supposed to look.
That evening, Aisha stood outside Emeka's office glass door longer than she expected. Her hand hovered near the handle. She almost turned back. What if I'm wrong? What if this changes everything again? She exhaled slowly, then knocked. "Come in." His voice sounded tired, not angry, not defensive, just tired. Emeka looked up. For a second, neither of them spoke. Too much had happened between them, too much unsaid. Aisha stepped forward and placed the envelope on his desk. "I don't understand this," she said quietly, "but something about it feels wrong." Her voice was steady, but her fingers weren't. Emeka didn't respond immediately. He opened the envelope and pulled the papers out, flipped through the pages once, then again, slower this time. Aisha watched his face, and that was when she saw it. His expression changed. Not shock, no anger, no panic. Recognition. The kind that comes when a problem you've been chasing suddenly seems to have a kind of solution. His eyes narrowed. "This company," he murmured. He reached for his laptop, typed quickly. Aisha stood there, watching, waiting. Minutes passed. Then he leaned back slightly. "It doesn't exist," he said. Aisha frowned. "What do you mean?" she asked. "No registration, no staff, no office, no operations," Emeka answered as he looked through the papers again. "Just money." Aisha frowned and asked, "What kind of money?" He looked at her. "The kind that people don't want traced." Over the next few days, SoftSky continued to bleed. News channels ran the story non-stop. Emeka started following the numbers. Late night, closed doors,
quiet calls. And when he finally spoke to her again, his voice was different, lower and heavier. "It's layered," he said. She stood beside him, trying to understand what he meant. "They didn't move the money directly." He turned the screen slightly towards her and pointed. "They broke it into smaller transfers, converted it, moved it through multiple crypto wallets," Emeka explained. Aisha blinked. "Crypto?" she asked, still not fully understanding. He nodded. "It's harder to trace, easier to hide." He tapped the screen again. "Then they funneled everything into that company you found." Her chest tightened slightly. "So that's where it ends?" she asked. He shook his head slowly. "No, that's where it disappears," he responded. He typed rapidly on his laptop, and then the first crack appeared. "And from there, it's distributed," Emeka continued. "To who?" she asked quietly. He didn't answer immediately.
He turned the screen again, scrolled, stopped. "Daniel," Emeka said quietly. Aisha looked up immediately. "Daniel? The compliance officer?" she asked. Emeka nodded. "Small amounts, regular, controlled. Like someone paying him to do something small repeatedly." Aisha's mind went back to that day she met Daniel in front of the executive elevator. The hesitation, the nervous energy that emanated from him.
He turned the screen again, scrolled, stopped. This time, Aisha didn't need him to say it. She saw the name herself. Ngozi. "Her too?" she whispered. She just stared at the screen. Larger transfers, less frequent, more deliberate, more calculated. Silence filled the room. Aisha folded her arms slowly. But even then, something didn't sit right. "This doesn't feel complete," Aisha said softly. Emeka looked at her, because he was thinking the same thing. A few days later, Aisha wasn't trying to listen, but she heard it anyway. Voices, low, sharp. She slowed down near the corridor. Ngozi's voice, tight, frustrated. "You said it was contained." There was a long pause. Then Idris's voice, calm, too calm. "It is." That calmness stayed with her, because everything else was falling apart, but he wasn't. Around the same time, another pattern began to show. Mr. Sam Adeyemi, the chief compliance officer, every report he reviewed, every conclusion he pushed, somehow pointed back to Emeka, not sideways, not outward, just straight at him. It didn't feel like an investigation anymore. It felt like a coordinated attack, like he was actively trying to manipulate the narrative and make everything point to Emeka. It happened so quickly, Aisha almost missed it. She was walking past the unusually quiet hallway one afternoon, her mind somewhere else, still heavy with everything that had been happening. Files in her hands, thoughts scattered, and then the papers slipped. They fell from her grip and scattered across the floor. "Sorry," another voice came at the same time. Calm, familiar. She bent down quickly. So did he. Idris. For a moment, neither of them spoke, just the soft sound of paper being gathered. Their hands moved toward the same sheet at the same time, fingers almost touching. And that was when she saw it. The ring. It wasn't flashy, not expensive looking. In fact, it was almost too simple. A dull silver band, smooth, clean, but not plain. There was something carved into it, so faint you could miss it if you weren't looking closely. A small symbol, not a letter, not a design, something else. Aisha's fingers paused, just for a second. Her eyes stayed on it longer than they should have, and something in her chest shifted. It wasn't the first time she had seen that ring.
The thought came quietly, uninvited, but it stayed. Idris noticed her looking, just briefly. His hand turned slightly, almost instinctively, as if to hide it, but not fast enough. "You okay?" he asked with his usual charming smile. His tone was light, normal. Aisha blinked quickly. "Yeah, I'm fine." She forced a small smile, took the paper from his hand, but her mind wasn't there anymore. It was somewhere else. A different moment, a different day. Daniel. The memory came back clearly now. That same hallway, that same kind of moment, a dropped file, a hand reaching to help, and then that ring. Her heartbeat picked up, not fast, not panicked, just aware. It can't be the same. She glanced down again. Too late now. Idris had already straightened up, his hand back to his side, the ring barely visible anymore. "Careful next time," he said with a faint smile. Then he walked past her, calm, unbothered, like nothing had happened. Aisha remained there for a moment, still slightly bent, files gathered, but her thoughts scattered. Her mind started connecting things she didn't fully understand yet. Daniel, Idris, that same ring, that same symbol. Why would both of them be wearing it? It didn't feel like coincidence. It felt like something else, something quieter, something hidden. She stood slowly, her grip tightening slightly on the files. And then another thought came, this one colder, heavier. If Daniel's involved, and Idris is involved, then how many others are? That was when the feeling changed, from curiosity to something else. Danger. Because this was no longer about one person or one mistake. This felt organized.
Later that evening, she found herself thinking about it again. Not the ring itself, but the symbol, that faint marking, barely visible, but deliberate. Not decoration, not random, a sign. She didn't know what it meant yet, but something inside her was certain. That ring wasn't just jewelry, it meant something. And whatever it meant, it connected people, quietly, without words. And for the first time, Aisha realized something that made her stomach turn slightly. This wasn't just a scandal, it was a network, and she had just seen its mark. This time, she didn't rush to Emeka. She waited, watched, and when she finally spoke to Emeka, she didn't explain everything. She just said, "This is larger than we think," and that was enough. By now, the situation had gone beyond control. It was no longer just a company problem. It was national news. Government regulators had stepped in. Audit teams had taken over entire departments. Financial records were being pulled apart line by line. Every transaction, every approval, every hidden movement. SoftSky wasn't just under pressure, it was under threat. Multi-million naira contracts gone overnight. Investors were calling emergency meetings behind closed doors. And one thing was becoming very clear. If this went any further, SoftSky might not survive it. So the board called for an urgent emergency meeting. This one was different, as not only board members and shareholders were involved. This one would decide everything. Key staff members were also mandated to attend. The boardroom filled slowly. No one was relaxed. Even the air felt heavy. People avoided eye contact. Phones were silent. For once, nobody wanted updates. They wanted answers. The chairman cleared his throat. "Let's begin." His voice carried weight and pressure. "Emeka, we are losing clients. Investors are pulling out, and regulators are preparing sanctions that could shut this company down completely.
he continued. No one argued, because it was true. Emeka stood up slowly, not defensive, not emotional, just steady, and that alone changed something in the room. We've been asking the wrong question, he said. A few heads lifted, confused. We've been asking who approved the transactions. We should have been asking who is making money from them, he continued, his eyes moving slowly across the boardroom. There were low murmurs in the room. All attention was now fixed on him. Emeka turned slightly. Daniel, he called out. The name echoed louder than expected. Stand. Daniel, who was seated quietly at the far end of the boardroom, froze as all eyes turned to him. For a second, he didn't move. Then slowly, he stood, his hands shaking now as he rose, his sleeve pulled back just slightly, just enough, and for the briefest moment, Emeka saw it, a dull silver ring, simple but marked. His eyes lingered on it just a second longer than necessary. Something in his expression tightened, not confusion, recognition. You accessed restricted financial systems outside approved hours, Emeka said calmly. Daniel swallowed. I was just doing what I was told, he stammered. By who? Emeka interrupted. There was a long silence, thick, uncomfortable. Everyone was now staring at him. Daniel's lips trembled, and beads of sweat could be seen pooling at his forehead. I didn't want to, he said, his voice breaking. They said it was just small adjustments, just temporary. Another wave of murmurs moved across the room. This time it was louder. This was the first crack. Emeka didn't raise his voice, didn't rush, but his gaze shifted again, not to Daniel, but to the ring. Then slowly, across the room. And those adjustments created access points. He turned. And you, he said, facing Ngozi, who was seated 2 seats away from him. You used those access points, he continued. All eyes shifted to Ngozi. Ngozi, as usual, was dressed to the T. She didn't panic, didn't react. She just leaned back slightly. She looked very calm, almost amused. But then her eyes flickered, not toward Emeka, but toward Daniel's hand, just for a second, then away again. Too quick for most people to notice, but not for Emeka. Something clicked, quietly, dangerously. You didn't touch the system directly. You didn't need to. You just needed the door open, Emeka continued. Still, she said nothing. But now people were watching her differently. Then Emeka turned again. And you, Chief Compliance Officer, Mr. Sam Adeyemi. This time, there was a loud reaction all over the boardroom. The Chief Compliance Officer? That name carried weight. You led every audit trail back to me, Emeka said. Mr. Sam straightened slightly. That was my responsibility, he stammered, avoiding Emeka's eyes. But you ignored the inconsistencies elsewhere, Emeka countered. Now the murmurs in the room grew louder. Many of the people in the room started connecting dots, because they had seen this too. No one, however, had thought to question it. Emeka paused for this information to sink in, but his mind was already ahead. The ring, Daniel, and Ngozi's reaction. This was no coincidence, never coincidence. Then slowly he turned to Idris. This time the room didn't move, didn't whisper. It went still, because nobody expected that direction. You didn't need system access, Emeka said, his voice lower now, sharper. You didn't need to log into anything. You had something better. You had influence, he continued, still staring at Idris. And then, as Idris shifted slightly in his seat, his hand moved. The light caught it, just briefly. The same ring.
Emeka saw it clearly now, no doubt, no mistake. And this time, Ngozi saw him see it. Her composure slipped, just slightly, for the first time. That was it, the final piece. At that exact moment, the door opened. Heads turned. Aisha stepped in. She knew she wasn't supposed to be there. Her access had already been removed, her place in that room taken, but no one stopped her, because at this point, no one cared about protocol. They cared about the truth. She walked in slowly, every step heavy, her heart beating so loudly she could almost hear it. "That company is a paper company," she said softly. The room quieted even more. "I found it by accident." She swallowed. "I didn't understand it at first." Her eyes moved briefly to Emeka, then back to the room. "But I kept seeing the same pattern." She took a breath. "That's where payments were made for sale of user data. So it's actually true that SoftSky illegally sold out users' data," she finished, as all eyes were now keenly fixed on her. Emeka stepped forward. "These were crypto transactions," Emeka said. "Layered transfers designed to avoid detection. Funds broken into smaller amounts, moved across multiple wallets, then merged again," he pointed slightly, "into a paper company that doesn't officially exist." The murmurs began again, low, uneasy. "And from there," Emeka continued, "the money is distributed." He paused. Not randomly, strategically. His eyes didn't leave Idris now. "To you," Emeka continued, his gaze still on Idris. There was a deep silence, heavy, unavoidable. Then Idris smiled. He did not look nervous, not angry, just calm, too calm. "You're late," he said. That line cut through the room. People shifted, uncomfortable now. "I didn't start this," Idris continued. "I found it." He leaned forward slightly. "And I made it better." No one spoke. The silence stretched, heavy. Emeka's voice came in low, controlled. "That ring," he looked directly at Idris's hand. "It's not just a coincidence, is it?" he asked. For the first time, Idris's smile changed. Not gone, just sharper. He paused briefly, then glanced down at the ring, turned it slightly on his finger, almost casually. Emeka continued to stare at his finger and said quietly, "That ring isn't just a ring, it's how they recognize each other." There was another
Heavy silence. But this time, it felt different. Heavier. Darker. Because now it wasn't just about SoftSky anymore. It wasn't just about stolen data or hidden money. It was organized, structured, connected. And suddenly, everyone in that room realized the same thing at once. This wasn't a single crime. It was a system, and they had just uncovered one part of it. Aisha, who was still standing close to the entrance of the boardroom, felt a cold wave move through her chest. Not fear exactly, something deeper. The kind of realization that doesn't come all at once, but once it starts, it doesn't stop. If they could sit in rooms like this, smile like this, and no one knew, then how many more were out there, wearing the same ring? Then Idris leaned back slightly, composed, untouched. "This system existed long before SoftSky," Idris suddenly said. He even sounded proud of himself. "Companies collect data. They analyze behavior. They sell insights." He shrugged nonchalantly. "We just removed the middleman," he concluded, smiling shrewdly. That was when it hit. This was not just fraud, not just corruption. This was bigger. Pandemonium broke out as board members rose in unison, shouting over one another to express their shock and rage at Idris's sheer audacity. Daniel sank back into his chair, looking deflated. Ngozi looked away, trying to maintain her composure. For the first time, she was uncertain. Mr. Sam Adeyemi said nothing. He was sweating profusely, because there was nothing left to defend. And just like that, everything collapsed. Within hours, the story changed. Headlines shifted across every platform. CEO cleared of data fraud. Illegal data network exposed. Crypto laundering scheme uncovered inside tech giant. But the truth was, even though Emeka was cleared, the damage had already been done. Trust had been broken, contracts had been lost, and SoftSky would never be the same again.
Days later, the office felt different, quieter. Not because people had less to say, but because everyone was thinking about what had happened. Aisha sat quietly at her desk, the same desk, but it didn't feel the same anymore. Footsteps approached. She looked up. Emeka stood there, not confident, not playful like before, just careful. "I'm sorry," she said softly. The words didn't come easily. "I shouldn't have believed everything I heard." Jane stepped forward too. "We judged you," she added. A pause. "We were wrong." For a moment, Aisha said nothing. Not because she didn't have words, but because she had already let it go. Then she smiled, small, genuine. "It's okay." And this time, it really was, because something inside her had changed. She wasn't trying to prove anything anymore. Not to them, not to anyone. Later that evening, she saw Emeka again. No audience, no pressure, just the two of them. For a second, they just stood there, looking at each other. Everything that had happened sat quietly between them. "I broke," Aisha said finally, her voice calm, honest. "I broke the moment I stopped trusting you." Emeka nodded slowly. "I broke too," he said, "when I thought I had to carry everything alone." Silence followed. But this time, it wasn't painful. It was real. "I don't want to lose you again," he said. No pride, no defense, just truth. Aisha looked at him. Really looked at him. Not as the CEO, not as the man in the headlines. Just him. "I don't want that either," she said softly. And just like that, not everything was fixed, but something important was restored. Trust. Not perfect, but rebuilt. Slowly, honestly. Days later, she sat with her mother. Mariam listened quietly, the way only mothers do, hearing more than just words. When Aisha finished, Mariam smiled gently. "A man who stands," she said slowly, "when everything around him is falling apart," she paused, then nodded, "is not a man you walk away from." Aisha didn't argue, because deep down, she already knew. The wedding wasn't loud. It wasn't extravagant. It didn't need to be. It was simple, warm, real. Colleagues came, friends came. Even the ones who had doubted showed up differently this time. And as Aisha stood there, looking at Emeka, she realized something quietly. After everything they had lost, they had still found their way back to each other. Not because it was easy, but because they chose to, again. And for a moment, it felt like peace. But not everything ends when the truth comes out. Because somewhere, far beyond SoftSky, something still remained. What Idris said didn't leave with him. This system existed before, which meant it still exists now, in other companies, other countries, other systems, quietly, carefully, selling what people never agreed to give. And the most dangerous part? Most people would never even know. Aisha stood still for a moment, that thought sitting heavier than it should. Then something else crossed her mind. Soft, quick, but impossible to ignore. That envelope. Her fingers tightened slightly. That file wasn't supposed to be there. She hadn't understood it then, but now it felt different, more intentional. Not placed carefully, but not completely hidden either, like someone had moved it and didn't finish what they started, or one didn't have time to. A quiet unease settled in her chest, because that meant one thing. Not everyone involved had been exposed, and somewhere, inside a system that still looked normal, someone else was still watching. Someone adjusted a silver ring and kept working.